Madness comes your way, like I was saying.
Marching on to victory. Labour Party marching, Labour Party marching, marching on to victory. Labour Party marching on, alright, marching on to victory. Labour Party marching, Labour Party marching, marching on to victory. Jump and shout, tell it all about, we shall have the victory. Jump and shout, tell it all about, we shall have the victory. Come now, me and the neighbor, oh yes, we voting for Labour. Alright, me and the neighbor, bring them, we voting for Labour. Carry them, me and the neighbor, oh yes, we voting for Labour. Oh yes, me and the neighbor, voting, we voting for Labour. Alright, jump and shout, tell it all about, we shall have the victory. There's got to be a better way. Must be, we are gonna make that change. Yes, we will now. Jamaica need a chance to turn the lights around. We are gonna make that change. Tell them again, there's got to be a better way. Oh yes, we are gonna make that change. Jamaica need a chance to turn the lights around. We are gonna make that change. Come on, me and the neighbor, alright, voting for Labour. Oh yes, me and the neighbor, voting, we voting for Labour. Me and the neighbor, voting for Labour. Me and the neighbor, oh yes, we voting for Labour. We don't hear you. We shall have the victory.
Alright guys, so we'll continue the show over here, so while we continue to get a fight over there on TikTok, and I now believe that persons who are following me, because my moderators are actively trying to get rid of persons, so see, I believe now that persons who are following me on TikTok is trying to take down my page over there. So we're going to move the show on YouTube on a permanent basis, and I will continue to post my videos on TikTok. Them little snippet there, when I love do the little clip there, we'll use TikTok for that. Right? So we'll go live now and then, but we'll use this medium now. You tell me if you not see me properly, tell me if you not hear me properly, my people. See? We'll use this medium now to host the show at morning time. See? So we'll do 2 programs, one in the morning and one in the evening. Because persons are probably off to work now and they're way to work and cannot join now, but we'll be able to join later. I am seeing myself in HD. My signal is up. I have good signal and I don't know what is happening. So as I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted over there on TikTok. As persons come into the live, please give the live a thumbs up. So hit the 3 dots in the right hand corner, hit the thumbs up button. See? There are not a lot of Jamaicans today alive today that can say that they have not witnessed a family member dying from some kind of violence. Majority of us Jamaicans have experience where a member of our family has died through violence. So today we are using the social media space to remember those persons who lost their life. It could be one of your family members. So what we want to do is, if you're in the comment section and you lost a family member to violence, please comment that family member name and we will say condolence to that family member. You know, I have lost several persons to gun violence in Jamaica. You know, I've lost one of my good friends. I lost family members, you know, over the years. I've lost school friends, you know, people that I grew up knowing in the community, you know. And many of us, many of us can say the same thing. You know, so if you have lost any family member, so Claudette Green says she lost Winston Green, so rest in peace to Winston Green, and my condolence to you, Claudette Green, and your entire family members. See, I know Lashika have lost 2 persons from her family, so I want a condolence to her and her entire family. You know, would have seen the little baby girl in recent time lost her life to violence. You know, I want to send condolence to her family. Unalive, his neighbor, saying that the neighbor pulled a knife on him. I never saw that in the video. However, maybe the video need to be zoomed in and analyzed properly. However, even if he had drawn a knife, I saw that man running away from that man. You know, and the very fact that he was running away from him signals that he was scared of him. And he ran him down and shot him to death. And therefore, that is a clear case of unaliving. Saying good morning, PB. You know, so we are here today, Purple Day, remembering the life of people lost to violence in Jamaica. So if you have a family member that you lost to violence, my people, comment that family member name, you know, and we will wish that person an eternal rest in peace and condolence to your family. See, we talk about crime and violence, you know, and I want to say to my government that we must now come with a separate court in Jamaica. We need one in each parish. See, we need a separate court in Jamaica that deals with conflict resolution, that deals with what you call, you know, compensation, that deals with lawsuits and other related civil related matters. Now we have a court system in Jamaica, but it is chock-a-block, it is jammed up, my people, and we need to have another set of courts now that deal with. So we have one that deal with only family issues, like, you know, that is a civil matter, but you know, a lot of times when you go there, it is about, you know, people, child maintenance and all of that. We need a court that deal with disputes, you know, that settle dispute quick and fast so people can resolve these matters. Because if me and your neighbor and you continue to antagonize me and I continue to make complaints and nothing happens, more than likely, you know, it is going to end in violence, because people might go to the extra mile just to prove a point. See, just like we saw yesterday. So on TikTok, I was calling out a list of names. Am I still blurry, guys? I was calling out a list of names that was people that was unalive in Jamaica, famous persons that lost their lives in Jamaica, or persons who were well known, who lost their life to violence in Jamaica. People like Trevor Burbeck, people like Bogle, you know, people like Peter Touch, you know, lost their life to violence, met a violent end, and several others, you know. And we see the brother about a year or two ago that unalived 5 members of his family. I believe his name was Russian something. You know, we see just last year, ending of last year, or the year before, where all of a sudden, you know, 5 persons at a time was being gunned down, you know, and that was the PNP activating the Brigadista movement to fuel crime and violence so that the Prime Minister could not claim a reduction in crime year before last. See? So, we're seeing yesterday now where, hold on, I'm going to come off our screen, where 220 guns and thousands of rounds of ammunition, was imported into Jamaica ahead of the general election, and the police raided a place yesterday and found those weapons. So is it that the PNP was putting together a stash of weapons, my people? This is what I want to know now. Is it that the PNP was putting together a stash of weapons? And I said this, and believe me when I say this, my people. The night at the local government election, when Mark Gold and refused to concede the election to the Jamaica Labour Party, I came on the live the very next morning and I said to my people on the live that morning, I said, listen, my people, the very fact that Mark Golding refused to concede defeat tells me that they are preparing for war in Jamaica. And we are going to see blood on the streets of Jamaica again because of politics. Lo and behold, two PNP activists, I am told through the grapevine. It is not yet confirmed by security forces, my people, so don't take it as gospel. But I was told through the grapevine that two PNP activists are under investigation for attempting to smuggle 220 guns and thousands of rounds of ammunition into Jamaica ahead of the general election. And the rhetoric that Mark Golding have been using over time, the position that he holds, if you listen to the tone that he talk about Michelle Charles in, that Michelle Charles deserved to be beaten badly. And then he start to contextualize it after, about politically. Because he read the room and saw that persons were not taking kindly to that, even though they were PNP. Mark Golding and Peter Bunting, I heard saying that when them win, they want to put the Prime Minister in a short pants. So I don't think they mean, my people. These people are preparing for war. They are preparing for blood to run on the streets of political power. They have won 4 consecutive back-to-back election, 5 even. And the Jamaica Labour Party stood there quietly in opposition, waiting for their turn to win this country fair and square and to run this country properly. And that is what happened in 2016. We won this country fair and square, and we have sought to run this country properly. The Jamaican people, we deserve better than what the PNP have to offer. And the PNP, I've said this on this medium many times over, that they are preparing and they are prepared to go through any means necessary to get political power in this country. Because that's all they care about. They never cared about you or me. When crime and criminality was out of control and we asked them to join us with states of emergency and Zozos, they took us to court. They also took us to court just to prove a point, say it was unconstitutional when they themselves voted for it. The PNP is a criminal organization and a criminal operation, my people. And they will stop at nothing. Today in Jamaica, the Prime Minister have to double his security. The Prime Minister of Jamaica is now having to walk with his very own firearm, just in case. But our intelligence is working in Jamaica because we have made the necessary, investments. So we can go after these people and we can find these things that is coming into our country. We, the Jamaican people, must tell the PNP that no, we are not putting up with any more criminality in our country. We have lost too many lives, too much of pride for our loved ones, Too much mothers have cried for their children. You know, too much mothers have cried for their sister children. Too much granny cry for their grandpitney. You know, how much fathers have children lost. These said kids grew up to be, you know, problem to the society because their role models were taken away. You know, and this all started because of Michael Manley, my people, and his ideology. Destroyed Jamaica and destroyed our future and destroyed our children's future. Jamaica has lost loads of musicians, loads of scientists, probably good prime ministers that we could have had. Nurses, doctors, teachers, lawyers, who knows? Jamaica had lost to all of. You know, there was once a time in the early 2000s where Jamaica was losing 121 men per 100,000. You know, we cannot allow, we must not allow the PNP and the criminal elements that follow behind them. You know, a man was murdered in Jamaica in the early 2000s after refusing to join a PNP affiliated gang and running to Britain for political asylum. And the British deported him back. And within 2 days of him coming back on the island, he was brutally gunned down, murdered, under the watchful eye of the People's National Criminal Organization. This gang blossomed. Today, we have a government that is going after these people, going after them, you know, with everything that they have. Guys, on the press, you know, there's 71 of us, you know, get me some thumbs up now. Hit the 2 dots or the 3 dots right hand corner of your phone screen and hit the thumbs up button. See, please. I am getting a fight over TikTok, my people, and I believe that it is coming from within. So we are going to move the show to YouTube. You know, we might even start doing some shows on Instagram because I like to have persons interacting with me. You know, I enjoy having persons interacting with me, so I don't have to keep talking. You know, so we are going to move the program to YouTube. There's a medium where we can use, where we can get persons on the show. You know, but it is not at that stage yet, my people. And the reason why I say that, because oftentimes I give a directive or an instruction and it is not followed. So that tells me that persons are not willing to participate just yet. You know, so the vast majority of participation is on TikTok. You know, which I'll go into persons box. I will continue to participate in other labor rights. But my life on TikTok, I will be pausing for a little bit and we'll be moving it over here on YouTube. See, I will be doing 2 shows a day, one in the morning and one in the evening. See, we can't do it every day, my people, so sometimes you're not going to see me. See, so, but we are trying to accommodate you guys. You know, we know no like we have and no like we when we can disseminate information, you know, and we continue to dole out the work of the people. For persons who might not have, you know, or were not on the live last night, or wasn't on the live, I don't know what kind of English that I use, you know, I want to play a clip. You know, we have Purple Day today, but it is still political, my people. So I want to play this clip from Cliff Hughes for persons who might not have heard it. So listen to this, my people.
All right. So what are the figures saying? The figures are giving us some interesting narratives as to the state of the politics, especially where others are concerned in terms of how the public view their performance. The Prime Minister and the opposition leader, of course, I'm speaking of. The Prime Minister, or the question, how do you rate Andrew Holness's performance after 9 years as Prime Minister? For Mark Golding, how do you rate Mark Golding's performance after almost 5 years as opposition leader? Those are the questions Blue Dot asked. The Prime Minister, 22% rated his performance as poor. Mark Golding, 32% rated Golding's performance as poor. Average, 35% rated the Prime Minister as average. For Golding, 41% rated him as average. Good. The Prime Minister, 43% rated him as good. Golding, 27% rated him as good. Now, those are the headline figures. Where the Prime Minister is concerned, good is showing a marginal, negligible 1% uptick from 42% in February 25. For Mark Golding, his rating of good is up by 4%. It is outside of the margin of error. That's not negligible. So he's up from 23% in February 25 to 27%. Average, the Prime Minister, 32% saw him as average in February 25. That's now up to 35%. Again, to be noted, no outside the margin of error. For steady, 41% in February 25, 41% in May 2025. Poor, in February 25, Holness, 26% rated as poor. It's now down to 22%. Yes, a 4-point gain for the Prime Minister. For the opposition leader, a similar 4-point gain. 36% rated him as poor in February 25. That's now down to 32. So, the figures are telling us that the Prime Minister is holding steady at over 40%, 43%. For Mr. Golding, he's improving, but he's coming from a low base of 20% in 2022. Yes, 20% in 2022. The Prime Minister is coming from a low base of, where's the Prime Minister's figures now? Oh, never went down to more than 32% in 2023. He's now up to 43%. So from 32 to 43. Golding from 20 to 27%. Yeah? But you always have to dig deep in the numbers. Yeah? And when you look at the parishes across Jamaica, the Prime Minister is in net positive territory in 11 of the 13 parishes. We have 4.
Yes, my people. So we just want the people them know that weren't here last night. Well, we know nationwide a big station, so persons would have heard, but Jamaican people don't really follow up news. Them like hearsay. So the Prime Minister is in good stead with the people of Jamaica, my people. And we continue to tell the people the right thing. No, I was just on TikTok and speaking about, a lot of stuff. But soon as I said that the PNP was affiliated to a gang and I started to read into that, I started getting attacked. on TikTok. So I had to run over here on YouTube. See? But I'm not keep on along this morning, my people. We are here celebrating, well, not celebrating, we are here remembering, persons who lost their life to guns and violence. Majority of that show took place on TikTok. What I'm going to do is I am going to download this live. I'm going to cut it in half. I'm going to cut off the beginning of it, and I am going to cut the TikTok video before it started messing up, and put them together and then repost it back on here. So I'll be making a full show out of it, my people. See? So big up on yourself, and I will see you guys this evening, 6 o'clock Jamaica time. See? Or just after 6, sometime after 6 this evening. See? So big up on yourself. Shower labor rights.